2 American combat aircraft went down in separate incidents. One of 2 service members on board an F-15E that was shot down was rescued.
2 American aviators were down inside Iran, 200 miles behind enemy lines. What came next would break every record in the history of combat rescue.
The rescue mission marks the first time since the start of the war that U.S. troops were known to be inside Iran.
155 aircraft, 4 bombers, 64 fighters, 48 tankers, a muddy farm airstrip southwest of Isfahan, a CIA deception campaign that lured 7 decoy strikes across the country, Navy SEALs, Air Force pararescue, A-10 pilots flying into walls of gunfire, and 1 injured colonel hiding in a mountain cave at 7,000 feet, waiting for the radio to come alive. The Pentagon calls it the largest combat search and rescue operation ever attempted. Military analysts call it the most audacious rescue in American history. And Iran's military, they're still trying to figure out how it happened. This isn't a movie. This is what American air power looks like when an American is down. For the next few minutes, we're breaking down exactly what happened to the crew of Dude 44, how the United States pulled off a 48-hour rescue deep inside hostile territory, and why this operation just rewrote the rulebook on modern air warfare. If you believe America will always bring its people home, type proud in the comments below. The Shootdown. April 3rd, 2026, 4:40 in the morning, local time. An F-15E Strike Eagle, call sign Dude 44, was flying a deep strike mission over southwestern Iran. The aircraft was assigned to the 494th Fighter Squadron out of Royal Air Force Lakenheath in England, and it had just become the first manned American aircraft confirmed lost to Iranian hostile fire in the war. Here's what nobody expected. The Strike Eagle wasn't taken down by an advanced radar-guided missile, not the Russian S-300, not the Iranian Bavar 373. It was a shoulder-fired heat-seeking missile, a MANPADS, likely a Russian-supplied Verba. President Trump explained it bluntly at the White House on April 6th. The Iranians, quote, got lucky. The missile, in his words, got sucked right in by the engine. Think about what that means. MANPADS don't emit radar signatures. They can't be jammed. They can't be pre-targeted by stealth bombers. A single infantryman with a shoulder launcher can bring down a $100 million fighter, if he gets lucky. And on April 3rd, one of them did. Both crew members ejected seconds after impact. The pilot, call sign Dude 44 Alpha, landed in the flatlands of Khuzestan province. The weapons systems officer, Dude 44 Bravo, an Air Force colonel, was driven deep into the jagged peaks of the Zagros Mountains, miles away. Both activated their combat survivor evader locator beacons within 5 minutes of landing. At U.S. Central Command, the Joint Personnel Recovery Center declared an isolated personnel recovery event. The clock started. Within the hour, President Trump gave the order, bring them home. Phase 1, the daylight rescue. Before we go any further, please take a second to like this video and subscribe. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it means a lot to us. Now, here's where the story gets unbelievable. The first phase of the rescue launched in broad daylight. 21 aircraft, full frontal penetration of Iranian airspace. No stealth, no darkness, no element of surprise. Why? Because Dude 44 Alpha was injured and exposed. Every hour on the ground meant a higher chance of capture. The Pentagon decided speed mattered more than concealment. The task force had 3 layers. HC-13OJ Combat King tankers for aerial refueling deep inside enemy territory. HH-60W Jolly Green, 2 helicopters carrying the pararescue operators, and protecting all of them, flying the legendary Sandy Close Air Support role, a 10C Thunderbolt IIs. The A-10 pilots did what A-10 pilots do. They went low. They drew fire. They suppressed Iranian infantry closing in on the downed airmen, and one of them paid for it. As the Jolly Green helicopters moved in to extract the pilot, the lead A-10 took devastating anti-aircraft damage. The pilot refused to leave. He stayed in the fight until the helicopters were clear. Then he limped his wounded Warthog across the Persian Gulf, crossed into friendly airspace over Kuwait, calmly determined the aircraft was not landable, and ejected. He survived. That's air dominance, not stealth, not speed. A pilot who refuses to leave his brothers behind. The extraction helicopters took hits too. General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, described it in one devastating line at the White House.
For a U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle, call sign Dude 44, which was down in hostile Iranian territory.
The lead Jolly Green, quote, was engaged by every single person in Iran who had a small arms weapon. Every single person. 7 hours after launch, Dude 44 Alpha was safely aboard. Minor injuries. Coming home. But the hard part of the mission hadn't even started. The tactical hold. Dude 44 Bravo was still in the mountains, and he was in trouble. The colonel had ejected into the Zagros range near Dedasht, brutal, high-altitude terrain. He suffered severe blunt force trauma on landing, a broken ankle, significant bleeding. President Trump would later say the officer was injured quite badly and bleeding rather profusely. But the colonel did exactly what his SERE training told him to do. He knew the region was swarming with Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps patrols, Basij militia, and locals incentivized by bounties broadcast on Iranian state television. So despite his injuries, he dragged himself up the mountain. He climbed, he bled, he hid. He found a crevice at roughly 7,000 feet. He treated his own wounds, and he waited. For nearly 2 full days. Here's what most people don't realize. While the colonel was hiding, the Pentagon made a decision that defies conventional military logic. They called a tactical hold. They paused. They did not launch an immediate rescue. Why? Because the Iranians were ready now. Every IRGC unit in the country was hunting the American airmen. A rushed rescue would fail. Instead, the U.S. military began assembling something the world had never seen: a 155 aircraft armada, a deception campaign with 7 decoy strike packages, and a ground force that included Navy DevGru, SEAL Team 6, riding in on heavy transports to build an airstrip in the middle of Iran. Then the CIA got the break everyone needed. Agency technical assets achieved a 45-minute continuous visual lock on Dude 44 Bravo as he emerged briefly from cover. CIA Director John Ratcliffe confirmed it at the White House. They had him. They knew exactly where he was. Phase 2 was a go. Phase 2, the impossible rescue. For those of you who've served, or who have family who've served, you know what comes next. This is the part of the story the American military lives for. 9 o'clock at night, April 4th, the 155 aircraft armada launched. Simultaneously, the CIA triggered the deception. Strike packages hit 7 different locations across Iran. Phantom raids designed to pull Iranian forces in every direction at once. And it worked. Spectacularly. Iranian state media, Iran's own propaganda outlets, accidentally broadcast footage of massive traffic jams as IRGC units raced toward the decoy sites. They'd been lured to the wrong places. Under the cover of that confusion, 2 Air Force Special Operations MC-13OJ Commando 2 transports executed a blackout landing on an unused farm airstrip southwest of Isfahan. That field became an American forward arming and refueling point inside Iran. Let that sink in. The Commando 2s offloaded 3A and MH-6 Little Bird helicopters, tiny, nimble aircraft perfect for tight mountain extractions. The Little Birds lifted off, flew to the mountain ridge, and pulled the colonel out of his cave. Above them, 4 B-1 Lancer bombers orbited at altitude. Their job was simple: keep the IRGC away. Over the course of the operation, those bombers dropped roughly 102,000-pound JDAMs on approach roads, bridges, and Revolutionary Guard garrisons. They didn't target people. They targeted asphalt. Every road leading to the American airstrip was cratered into rubble. And then, almost, everything fell apart. The farm airstrip was wet, muddy in a way operators described as moon dust. When the 70-ton MC-13OJ transports tried to take off, the landing gear sank into the earth. Both aircraft were stuck, immobilized. In Iran, the ground commander made a decision that tells you everything about the American military. He ordered the MC-13OJs scuttled, blown up, along with the Little Birds. Roughly $200 million of cutting-edge hardware, destroyed on an Iranian farm, to prevent a single piece of American technology from falling into enemy hands. A contingency force from the 427th Special Operations Squadron, flying smaller C-295 transports, landed on the compromised strip, loaded the colonel and nearly 100 American ground personnel, and exfiltrated. 48 hours from shootdown to safety, every American came home. When Dude 44 Bravo saw the rescue helicopters coming over the ridge, he keyed his radio and transmitted 3 words, quote, "God is good." Why this mission is unprecedented. There's a growing community of military veterans and aviation professionals following exactly what happened in Iran because they understand what this rescue actually means. Let's talk scale. In the entire Vietnam War, American rescue forces recovered 2,780 service members from combat zones. That was over a decade of sustained operations. The legendary 1972 rescue of Bat-21 Bravo took 11 days and cost multiple aircraft and lives. The Dude 44 rescue used 155 aircraft to recover one man, 155 to 1. That ratio has never existed before in military history, and it tells you something important. Personnel recovery is no longer just a tactical obligation. It is a strategic imperative. The Pentagon was willing to risk over $350 million in hardware, 2 destroyed transports, an A-10, and 2 damaged helicopters to bring home a single injured colonel. Translation: if you fly for America, America is coming for you, no matter the cost. Compare that to Operation Eagle Claw in 1980. The last time American special operators tried to rescue Americans from Iranian soil. 8 service members killed. Mission aborted in a desert sandstorm. A national humiliation that helped end the Carter presidency. 46 years later, the United States ran an operation 10 times more complex, 200 miles deeper into Iran, with 0 American fatalities. That is not luck. That is 46 years of doctrine, technology, training, and institutional memory. That is joint force integration. Air Force, Navy, Army, CIA, AFSOC, working as a single weapon system. And here's the number nobody in Iran wants to talk about. Iran destroyed a $100 million fighter with a $50,000 shoulder-fired missile. A 2,000 to 1 cost ratio in their favor, but the United States responded by putting an entire armada in the air and getting its people back anyway. The message was clear: we will spend whatever it takes. The rescue of Dude 44 isn't just a story about 2 aviators, it's a statement. From the A-10 pilot who refused to leave his brothers, to the pararescue men who took small arms fire to pull a man off a mountain, to the CIA officers who orchestrated a 7-target deception campaign, to the SEAL Team 6 operators who held a muddy farm in Iran while bombers cratered the roads around them. Every single person involved in this operation understood one thing: Americans do not leave Americans behind. Not in Vietnam, not in Mogadishu, not in the Hindu Kush, and not in the Zagros mountains of Iran. That is the promise. That is the code. That is the thing our adversaries will never fully understand, because they cannot replicate it. You cannot manufacture that kind of commitment. You cannot train it into a conscript. It is built by decades of trust, doctrine, and sacrifice. Dude 44 Alpha is home. Dude 44 Bravo is home. The A-10 pilot is home. Every single American who went into Iran came back out. 155 aircraft, 48 hours, 200 miles behind enemy lines, 0 American deaths. That is what American air power looks like in 2026.